Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Get Fit with Me, expanding your physical and mental fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. And we have Danielle with us today. I'm super excited that we have a walking buddy, and you can tell the difference in temperatures based on where we are in the world. Um, so,
It's getting warm. It's getting warm.
Danielle, do you want to introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what brought you on today's call.
My name is Danielle, and I am from Snohomish, Washington. Sorry, I have to pick up dog poop also on my walk today because I have my little dog brother, Larry. And what brought me on the call today is to entertain my walk while I'm walking every single day. So that's what I'm excited to be here and chit chat with y'all.
I love it. And I know you're doing something right now that requires you to do a walk. Do you mind sharing with us
Yes.
the reason you're having to take a walk? Not because it's good for you and you want to do it, but you've committed to something. So do you mind sharing with us what that is and kind of how hard it is? Because today we're talking about positive affirmation to ourselves and just how important it is to talk to ourselves positively because there is so much negativity. And when you shared this earlier this week with your people, it was perfect when you said I'm going to be on. I'm like, awesome, because I want to hear how when we don't succeed at things, how down we get, but how we have to transform that. So share with us what you're doing and how you've gone about it.
So I am doing a program that is called 75 Hard, and it is a program that you do for 75 days straight. And there are 5 or 6 particular tasks that you have to complete every single day. Good morning. To complete a day. Whoops. And so those different tasks are you have to do 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outside. You have to follow some sort of diet. You have to drink a gallon of water, 10 pages. You have to read 10 pages a day. And you have to take a progress photo every single day. And then it requires you to not have any cheat meals or junk food in the process. So those same tasks are every single day for 75 days. And so what I do as one of my workouts is go on a walk with my dog for 45 minutes as one of the workouts. And so that's what I am doing today. So that's the gist of the program. This is my 4th time restarting the program, and it's been different things of different reasons why I've had to restart. But each time I've restarted, I've learned some pretty significant habits and what's the word I'm looking just mental thinking, I guess, positive and negative thoughts that have literally deterred me from having to keep going. And so I'm on day 3 of round 4 right now.
And I am so proud of you, one, because so often we do things, we make a commitment. If it doesn't work out, we change the commitment because we realize which sometimes is great. If you realize you've committed to something that's way too over, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon and only train for a week. Okay, there's certain things that we need to know it's okay to alter. But when it's something like this where you know you're fully capable and there's just been those mental blocks, I'm proud of you for restarting 4 times because most of us would not. And as I saw that, I'm like, I'm not sure how I would sit if I was in that position. Sure. So when you've done that, when you have either gotten to that day where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to start over, how have you felt in that moment? Did you kind of were you hard on yourself? Did you give yourself grace? Kind of how has that gone from probably the first time till now?
Well, from the first time, it was just super black and white. Like I work like a 10-hour day at a bar on Sundays, and that's the first time that it restarted. Was like, okay, I'm gonna count my job as one of my workouts, but then like other things got in the way to where I wasn't able to go outside and do the workout. So that was the first time. This last one, it was really eye-opening to my commitment to myself and the promises that I make, and the ability to communicate to other people my needs, like to commit to myself. And I literally couldn't lie to myself, because I was like in my car driving, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to give myself one day out of 75 days just to give myself like a little bit of a reprieve. And I couldn't do it. Like my stomach dropped. Like, Danielle, you cannot lie. Like, you're cheating. Like, that's cheating. You're only cheating yourself because you didn't do it. It's like the tasks are so black and white that it is an either you did it or you didn't do it. And so that's why, like, for me in this commitment, I love it, because there is no gray area. It is, I did the task or I didn't do it, and I can't cheat myself out of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And there's times when that black and white is super helpful. Knowing, did I do the thing or not do the thing? Well, I kind of sort of did the thing. Well, it's not kind of sort of. Did you move your body or did you not move your body? Like, very black and white. So, today, we're gonna have wind apparently pick up here. Feels fantastic. We're gonna be in the 90s today.
I know. I actually am gonna take off my sweatshirt here in a minute because it's getting toasty.
So today we are talking about positive self-talk, positive affirmation, whatever you want to call it. But the reason I decided that this time we do our move and learn would be about positivity is because last time I talked about the excuses that we put up, the negativity that we're like, well, I can't do it, or I'm never going to get there, or I'm not strong enough, or I'm too fat for that, or whatever those negative things we say to ourselves. Or maybe you're someone who says that to other people about them. A lot of we don't realize how much negativity is around us, and how when we respond to something such as, wow, I have a really busy day today. I'm on calls from 8 o'clock till 6 p.m. today. And somebody goes, well, that sounds awful. That right there is just taking in negativity, whether they mean it or not. So thinking of how can we change our outlook on the things that are happening around us. Because if we all know, if somebody tells you you look beautiful today, you stand up a little taller, you feel better. But we don't ever tell ourselves that, I find. Or we don't ever say, wow, I'm really good at what I do. I'm really good at organizing. I'm really good at cleaning the floors. We don't give ourselves our own praise. One, because it probably feels awkward. Let's be honest, like, good job, you're great today. Like, it's awkward because we didn't grow up that way. It wasn't something that we learned. So it's a habit we are changing. Right. So today, I want to know, Danielle, have you changed some of your, whether it's when you're speaking to someone else or you're speaking to yourself, what are some different I'm going to call them brain patterns that you've created to give yourself a more positive outlook and a positive environment? Because I know I've done it, but I want to hear kind of what you've done, because I know you have done in some spots. Where have you done and how have you changed that?
I would say, like, some of the biggest things I've noticed the change in my verbiage. Like, I love what you said about like you were on calls for 10 hours a day and someone says it's awful. So, like, for example, if the other day one of my clients, she was asking for me to like go hang out with her or something, and I was like, oh, I get to go meet with clients today instead of I have to, or like as if my job is a drag kind of thing. Like, I looked at it as like, no, this is the best day of my life. I get to go and hang out with my people. And her response was, I love your response to that, because of the fact that it is so easy to it's a lot easier to be negative than it is to be positive most of the time. And so I really am being cautious about especially self-talk because of how impactful it is with my verbiage to other people. So if I continue to say like, oh, I have to go to work today, I don't want to go to work today, then my mood trickles into the way that I talk to other people as well. And I, as a coach and, you know, someone that people are looking for positivity, that's not a good thing. So that's why I've been just a lot more cautious of it lately, and also trying to find the good in all the situations first and being thankful when things don't work out, because it is feedback. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Absolutely. And I get to hang out with my clients today. I was actually, Jamie and I were talking, I think it was Tuesday, and I'd said something, we're like, oh, I have to go. And then without even noticing, I rephrased myself, and she goes, did you purposely do that? I said, purposely do what? She said, reframe your mindset into something more positive. I said, no. So it's one of those where the more you practice it and become aware of it, and the more conscious you become, it's gonna start happening unconsciously. You're gonna just start switching that mindset over. And yeah, we all have crummy days. And there is so much crap in the world, whether it's now, 10 years ago, or 10 years in the future. There's always going to be crap and negativity. But if we can take time to just pause and find that awareness, and like you said, what is that one good thing? So you're in a car crash. What is that one good thing that happened? I didn't die. Like thinking of these things that happen to us, what is that positive thing that I can pull myself to? Because if we keep putting ourselves around that negativity, we're going to stay around that. And we all probably know really negative people in our lives that it's hard to be around, especially as we get more positive and more uplifted. And it's hard to be around them.
It is. And that's another thing that I've had to be very cautious of, is your positivity is a form of energy, and that's an exchange, so that other people aren't necessarily receptive to your positivity. It's not like you have to ban them, but it is really interesting to, you know, that famous quote, you are, what is it? You are the product of the 5 people that you hang around. And if those 5 people are negative, that is a direct correlation of how you view things as well, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really important to be that positive person, even if you're that one person out of their 5, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you're right. We end up being who we surround ourselves with. I remember about a year ago, I was having a conversation, and I just had started to sense the negativity in that person I was talking to. And it takes courage to say these things. And I said, I'm not okay with the way I'm listening to this. I'm just going to remove myself. And then they were confused. They said, why? So then I had to explain the reason. And because since starting Get Fit with me, I honestly never thought I was smart enough. I didn't like school. Like I had all these pre-existing conversations, but until I started to lean into what I wanted to be and showing up that way, showing up positive, showing up of I'm strong enough, I'm the way I'm supposed to be, I'm tall enough, I feel that, like all of these things that I never thought I was, not because no one told me I wasn't, but nobody ever told me I was either. So I went to, well, no one told me I was smart, so I don't think I'm smart. Like there's these things that we program in our mind even without real words being told to us. And it's noticing where those people are in our lives that we can not cut off, because if they are people you want in your life, you don't want to cut them off, but having those conversations of, I don't want to be around when you talk that way about those people. Like just be open and upfront. And it's crazy what has changed since having that conversation. Their awareness to when they say stuff is, I didn't mean for that to be negative. It just, their awareness then kicks in.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you have the strength to be able to say that to somebody, because that is where people, I would say, including myself, get to those crossroads of like, oh no, it's fine. But then it's like and it's amazing how you can kind of look into the situation and see yourself form into those negative headspaces. I definitely have done that. And I love how you literally were like, yeah, no, this isn't fueling me, so I need to stop. Sometimes the way that I approach it is I kind of do the kill it with kindness thing, like really overkill the niceness, be like, well, at least it's a sunny day, or at least that you're alive, or at least, and kind of, that's because one, for me, confrontation of being like, saying that is harder for me. So I kind of do it in a flip way with like, oh no, like I think of the glass half full in this situation and here's why, kind of thing. And then sometimes people are like, well, that's stupid. How positive can you, like, and then they're making a joke out of it because I think that they see that they're like, oh yeah, okay, you're probably right, but don't, that they're making light of the situation too,
Exactly. And I like to kill it with kindness. The people around us, I actually learned that when I was in high school, there was a situation and my mom had said, kill them with kindness. And it freaks people out. It freaks people out because we're not used to people. And it wasn't out of spite. It was just like, I'm not going to lean into that. I'm just going to be nice to you.
Yeah.
And people, and we just don't, we're also just not very kind to each other anymore. We're not very kind to each other. We're not kind to ourselves. The way we speak to ourselves, the way we look in the mirror and shame ourselves, whatever that may be, we're just not as kind to ourselves as we used to be, I think. Or maybe we never really have been. And it's just never been taught to be kind to ourselves.
That like self-deprecating thing has been, I think, more of what I've noticed people gravitating towards, because it's easier for someone to make fun of themselves rather than like beating themselves to the punchline rather than someone else doing it. But also, people don't necessarily have the balls to say something negative. They'll say it behind people's back, which it kind of is that like vicious cycle of like, oh my gosh, are they talking about me? Do they think my legs are too big? Like, do they think that I'm fat? Do they think that I'm doing this? Like, and then that's where that self negative talk comes from, because it's the assumption of what other people are thinking without anything being said. Like you said earlier, like some things maybe not even be said, but we're internalizing it to be the worst case scenario.
Exactly. And somebody told me this a while back, and I've brought this up on a few calls, and I've talked to some of my clients about this, and I think you've probably heard of it, is there is somebody out there. I'm doing them a disservice by not knowing who has done this. So I apologize to that person, that famous person who is known for this. By waking up every morning, looking in the mirror, and giving yourself a high five, saying, today's going to be a great day, or you look awesome today, saying something about yourself into the mirror, like high-fiving yourself, and doing that in your morning pumps you up and puts you in the positive headspace. And I think that's so cool. Like, I don't do it. It's not like I've done it before, but it's not something I regularly put in because I've tried other things, such as just becoming aware of when that negativity comes in. When I'm on the boat with people and I'm in my swimsuit and I look down, I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh, stop. Like, it's that awareness and that I tell myself to stop a lot, because no matter how much we love ourselves and no matter how much the people around us love us for who we are, it's really, there's so many negative brain patterns that have been programmed that it literally means saying the word stop for us to like stop letting that brain pattern happen. Like, we need to stop it. And maybe you're not fixing it. Maybe all you're doing is noticing. So by saying stop, that is plenty. And eventually it'll be stop, X, Y, and Z. Like, you can slowly start to transition that mindset just by becoming aware and telling yourself, either in your head or physically out loud, stop.
And it is so true. I think, And like I was listening to that podcast where it talked about that high five thing, and the psychological response to that is because most of the time when you're high fiving someone, that already is a good thing. Like high fiving someone, that there's a congratulations, there's a something positive happening. So we're always doing that to somebody else, but never doing it to ourselves. But it still raises the same endorphins to yourself as it does as if you're doing it with somebody else. And so because we've been trained society wise, because of playing sports or because of good job, never, it's a pattern that we have been trained just like anything else. And so that negative self-talk is a pattern that we've learned just like with anything else. So the nice thing is, the positive thing about it is that positive self-talk can be trained just like anything else. It's just like you said, literally becoming more aware of it and telling yourself literally to stop. Like, I can't talk like this, or I'm noticing that I am talking like this. Stop it. There's times where I'll, about me and my faith. And sometimes I'll be like, devil, get out of my head. Like, cause that's just, I'll literally scream it and be like, get out, get out, get out. You're saying bad things. And sometimes will be enough because it's like I'm talking to a person, you know what I mean?
The other thing is not only noticing it with yourself, but when you are looking at somebody and your first instinct is to judge what that other person looks like or how that other person talks. It's that quick judgment. So even when you sense yourself starting to do that, stop and then go, wow, I really like her glasses, or find something positive. Whether you're saying it to that person or not, we all have judgments that slip in because that's just the way our brain patterns are, and it takes a lot to retrain those. But even just stopping that is going to help your judgment on yourself and your criticism and your, I can't do this, I hate X, Y, and Z, this isn't possible. All of that, if you stop that when you are talking or with others and you're judging them, it's going to return back to you. So it's a win-win for respecting everybody else, but also respecting yourself.
Exactly. And I was I'm reading a book called The Power of One More, and it's by Ed Milet, and it was just literally talking about the difference between identity and self-confidence. And identity is the fact that it's who you truly are. It's the promises that you keep to yourself. It's you trusting yourself to be able to positively talk well about yourself, think positively about yourself, knowing that you're capable of doing the things that you truly want for yourself. And that's what builds self-confidence, is the actual trust that you have within yourself, and hence the reason why I'm doing this 75 hard challenge is that I am not going to break a promise to myself. That's the entire point of it all, is that I made a commitment regardless of the program's level of toughness or whatever. That's the entire point, is I said I'm going to do something and I'm going to follow through to the very end, because that is something that I'm trying to build with myself, is self-trust, because I don't want to rely on other people's judgments or other people's words, or the sticks and stones may break your bones, but words may never hurt you. Like, that is kind of the whole consensus of why I'm doing it. The mindset, the mental toughness behind it is that it doesn't matter what other people think about this challenge or blah, 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 blah. It's the commitment and trust that I'm trying to build with myself to create better self-confidence, so that I'm not seeking it from other people.
I love that. And I love that you said you're not going to break the promise to yourself, no matter how many times you essentially have to start over. And I want you all to remember that we are the only people. We are us. We cannot control others. Me getting something done does not depend. I'd still be here if Danielle wasn't here. If I make a promise, that's your integrity to yourself, and that's integrity to those around you. If you make a promise or you say you are going to do something for you and you let yourself down, you are letting yourself down. And usually when that letdown comes, we usually have those excuses like I talked about last month of I ran out of time, or it was too hot, or I didn't have the right resources. Like, we try to validate ourselves when we break those promises to ourselves, because ideally we're looking for someone else to validate us, but nobody else is going to validate us. So we try to validate ourselves, which you're just in turn letting yourself down. So this is not something that you're going to change your positive self-talk at the end of this call. You're not going to stop breaking promises to yourself by the end of this next call. But I really challenge you to just become aware, and every time you have a negative thought about yourself or someone else, make a tally in your notebook. And at the end of the day, see how many tallies you have, because it happens way more often than we think it does. And by that visual, just like those of you who've done food audits with me, seeing it and getting it out of our head shows it's just a whole different realm to be like, wow, I do that. Because we think we don't. So we have about 4 minutes left on this call here, because we are only doing 30 minutes. I want to know what is something that you've taken away from today, and I'll share mine as too. Like, what was your insight? What did you kind of take away as, like, whether you knew it and it was a reminder or it was something new? And then what are you committed to doing for yourself between now and next week? Because we can't change all of this by saying we're going to change this for the rest of our life. Like, pick a day, pick 2 days, pick 7 days, and make a commitment to yourself and actually follow through on it. So Danielle, and drop it in the comments. Usually I'm really good about, like, when you guys are watching the replay, drop it in the comments. Drop these in the comments as you are watching the replay, because this does get posted to Facebook after.
So I would say my biggest takeaway from today's call is just, I actually forgot about the high five thing. And sometimes those really small actions can really just makes a big impact. And I think what my goal is for this next week, alongside with my challenge that I'm doing, is literally looking at myself in the mirror and saying, you got this, or you can do this, or something to make eye contact, whether it's a high five, whether it's a something, or writing it down. Like, just that simple, like, you can do it kind of thing is something that I really need right now. And again, it's building that trust with myself. So I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror and believe that I can do it. Because I've got lots of people supporting me, lots of people loving me, lots of people like helping me through this journey that I'm in right now. But there is a big difference when it is you telling yourself that you can do this versus someone else telling you.
I love it. I love that you are going to consciously make an effort to look at yourself in the mirror this upcoming week and just tell yourself you got it, and give yourself whatever that positive affirmation that you need that day is. I love it. Mine is just the power of remembering that when we have these negative thoughts, we're not the only one having it. Like, we're never alone in any of this, whether it's your weight loss journey, whether it's your strength journey, whether it's quitting binge eating, whether it's changing your mindset. You are never alone in any of this. And we all have struggles, and we all don't talk about them because it's one of those things that I don't think that wasn't the culture growing up, but I know we're moving towards that way. So I love this group because we get to talk about those things. I get to share, and I hope that when I share these types of things, that it brings, it allows somebody else in the group to feel like they're not alone in whatever I've shared. So what is my commitment this week? My commitment this week is I just did my my 6 week like goals for my business,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to put 3 professional goals, and it was to get 3 45-minute walks in each week. So I'm starting today. Here's the first 45-minute walk. I will walk 15 minutes after we jump off here, back to my house. And I'm going to do the other 2 between now and next week. It's just so beautiful here too that I can't not take advantage of our weather.
Yes.
So last little thing that I want to share for any of you guys who made it all the way through to the end. Like I mentioned, you are not alone in any of this. And this month, I'm giving away 3 spots to those who, to 3 women who want to try out the accountability membership that we have. And in that, it's all, we connect once a week. We have group calls. We share our struggles. We share our wins. It's a really close support system for females only. So if you are watching and you are like, yeah, I want to try it out. I haven't tried it. I've kind of heard you talk about it. Or you're like, I have no idea what that is. Sure, why not? You'd get to try it out for 21 days. After that, totally up to you if you'd like to sign or not. But yeah, so if you want to try that, just drop accountability in the comments and I will reach out to you and we'll have a conversation. Yeah, I like letting people try out what that looks like, because you don't know what you need till you like try it and you're like, oh, I need this, or no, I don't need it. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their day, and I will see you next time. Bye, Danielle.
Bye.